Okay, welcome to this video blog. There's a huge amount of things I could talk about at the moment. It was just thought processes are finally kicking in now that summer is really kicking in and my brain's waking up. I hate the winter. My body rhythms go out of sync. Get tired. I start comfort eating, put weight on. I'm going to get back in. I've written down a number of things for diet. I don't want to be too strict on it, but it sounds controversial to some people, and it sounds like not a good thing to do. And I would not recommend it if you got some issues with your sugar levels or you're diabetic or a number of these things. But even if you are, perhaps you could wean yourself into it. And what I'm talking about is every other day fasting. Or intermittent fasting, because every other day is not going to be the same. You're going to be difficult working it around your life. Be easier if you got a work from home job, probably. And it's just fluid. Keep yourself hydrated on the days where you're not eating, and just eat on the days that on the food days, but obviously keep your food clean, healthy foods, light foods, low calorie but good minimal intake. Optimal nutrition is extremely good for the body, I believe. And I did this a couple of years ago. I lost the weight, and all of my cravings just disappeared entirely. It wasn't the same. You might think like, oh, an ice cream would be nice, but you're not craving it. It was not the same. There's no cravings whatsoever. It was really like somebody got an axe and slammed it through a chain between me and certain junk foods here and there. I like sweet tasting things. I was buying fish. It was a good low fat protein meat. There was beef as well. Anything for meat, and anything for the vegetables. Good clean vegetables as well. Meat and veg. I wasn't cutting meat out, but I've had it very mixed with vegetables rather than any large amount of meat. And bean sprouts, stir fries, that kind of thing. Didn't use any oil really to cook stir fries. Boiled in, really. Use water. It worked. Got my weight right down, and the energy levels were going up as well. I slept better. I got up earlier each morning. Everything seemed to work better, even my concentration, which I have trouble with sometimes because I don't know. I think I'm probably ADHD, maybe, or I'll hear a word within a subject and then think about some other subject because it's associated in my head, and go and think about that instead of what I started with. It's a lot of trouble staying on track sometimes. But even that was more efficient just because I changed my diet. And all these ailments, your mental capacity as well as your physical well-being, your mental well-being and your physical, has a huge amount to do with what we put in our mouths. It really does. Right. I'll be doing another article, or expanding the article about the Iron Man thing that I did on the other channel. If you want to subscribe, please do. But if you don't like my stuff, do not. I do want to. I'm not very good at promoting myself, but I'm getting used to it. The more I think about it, how I'm going to promote myself. There's Teespring shop. All the links will be below. And, the donation links and all that. I do have a Patreon that I'm working on. I think on the Patreon I'll put my music in. I have the old Korg X3. Where's the other? Right, okay. Okay, I have one of these then. A Korg X3, very old, and the top key here broken off. A number of things I've kind of put some replacement parts in. So some of that is going to go into my music. That thing's heavy. What's much lighter is one of these. A Korg X5D. And this plays nice. It doesn't have a sequencer on this, but you hook it up to the PC. The PC is a sequencer. The Korg X3 does. But for use through FL Studio music software for that, and some of my music tracks are on this channel. Copyright free. You won't get a copyright strike. I know that for a fact because the tracks are actually on my channels. And the whole album though is on the Teespring shop. They do digital products now. And what happens with that, once you buy it, you can download the download a zip file, and the tracks are in the zip file as WAV files. Do what you want with it, write it to CD, or swap and change it, remix it, slap it on your videos. I don't care what you do with it, as long as I get a recognition. So yeah. I think it was really interesting watching Steve McRae's video talking about spirituality as well recently. And I totally agree with his take on spirituality as well. You don't have to be, religion and spirituality are entirely different to me. They're not even at two ends of the same scale. You could argue there's religion and there's spirituality so far apart on a scale, but they're not on the same scale. They're entirely different worlds. Spirituality doesn't work via worship. It breaks down via worship, I think, and hinders true spiritual experience. As to our interpretations on what these experiences are, that's an individual thing as well. Meeting the subconscious with the conscious is certainly something that happens a lot in meditation, and people can have spiritual experiences with that. I think it's almost, spiritual experience is those moments when everything is so, information is coherent with every other bit of information. You have that bigger picture moment, that epiphany. It's so powerful that you have the experience sometimes out of that, and it's a fleeting moment, and you want it again. It can be like addictive, like a dopamine hit thing. In some ways, there's one way to look at it. I think you listen to a piece of music or read something, and suddenly everything will click in place to a bigger interpretation that you never thought you could conclude beforehand, right? and it's becoming one with yourself, your whole, understanding your inner self more. It's an internal experience more than it is to do with the external world. But our interpretations of the experience is something like, again, yes, it's internal, but you can't really say, "Oh, you're correct on that." Interesting. There's a lot more I'd like to say, but I've been so busy with work as well. A lot of hours this past week because in the shop we were changing everything around in the shop. Well, not everything. There's an upstairs and a downstairs, but everything upstairs needed a big swap around, and it was phenomenal. Just the amount of work, and on top of that, there's new stock to sort of rework, and on top of that, there's sale pricing to do. Among other things, all these bright ideas they have now. We come out of lockdown. The company did well. I'm not going to say who I work for, but they did well during lockdown, which a lot of companies have. Why? Because the internet exists. The online sales went whoop, right up. Very quiet shop-wise, though, and I don't want to see small high streets disappear. And I know America has very commonly doesn't tend to have streets for the most part. How we have it in the UK, they have shopping malls. We kind of have those as well, but you see that happening more, which is kind of a good thing in some ways. All under one roof, different shops. You still get a sale even if it's hammering down outside. Yeah. So it's a beautiful day. It's woke me up and thinking about preparing the garden actually. Some of you've seen some of that last year. Was it last year or year before? Late 2019, I talked about preparing the garden. I think. Don't know. The last couple of years have been very blurrish because of the weird differences of how we normally live. And so much has happened on the internet as well. It's unreal. Kyle Curtis is still in denial of reality because he's addicted to his fantasy of superiority, which he knows isn't going to work in the long run anyway, but he still has to do it. Addiction is a very powerful thing. And I think that's what is a kind of a paradox, as people don't understand, is Kyle Curtis doesn't love himself. Narcissistic people don't love themselves. They hate themselves. What they're in love with, though, is the fictional self. They know the true self isn't something that they can work on. Or they convince themselves that they can't work on it. It's too painful for them. And it's a circular thing. I think part of it, especially with people like Carl, he thinks he's convinced people that he's so special and amazing, and some people may be convinced of that. It's very naive of them. And then, rather than admit, no, he's not this person that they think he is, he just keeps doing it. It's a snake oil salesman thing. He scams people with this bullshit. And look where it's got him. The problem is, though, the biggest problem, of course, is with people like that, is they slow everything down for other people. They're in the way of progress. Right? If you like these takes on things, go and subscribe to my other channel. Some of my best work isn't really about inner analysis of ourselves as humans. For me, the best videos I did were the geometry videos on the other channel. Again, the links will be below for these channels. Geometry relating to the collapse of the vacuum of space, and that's not with the theory of there was a great expansion and then it's going to come back together and happen all over again. That's not what I'm talking about. Entirely different to that, and some of that could be demonstrably wrong. But if it is, I'd like to hear in layman terms, because I'm a layman, as to why. And then take that on board and say, even put in my articles on the website. There is a website, exploratoryminds.com. Social pages exist there. A blog exists there. You can blog on there. We take the blog articles and put them on the main blog if it fits with a particular criteria, and that criteria is the quality of the information. Does it back itself up? Does it cite sources? Is it consistent with itself? And then, a number of analysis, if you will. So, how credible is this piece of information? A work colleague has joined the site. He's not doing anything with it yet, but I keep dropping hints, and he does want to go on there. But once you get home, it's not something you think about. Always is, I'll go on that site I joined. Particularly when it's a brand new sort of thing. I say brand new, it's been around a couple of years now, because it's been a journey developing exploratoryminds.com. We have video calling actually on there now. Video calling as a private one-on-one message. It's not like a video you put out there like YouTube. It's a one-on-one between two people, where I'll be able to keep that up, afford that piece of the site because it all needs funding. I'm not sure. At the moment, it's not a problem. But, I don't know. I might do some way, see if it can get funded somehow, or I might have to take that off. But it certainly works well, and it's all in sync. Runs well. I had a lot of people testing that. Thanks for watching anyway, and comment, rate and subscribe if you like these video blogs as well. Please let me know, because I'll do a lot more of them, definitely. And you'll see the garden developing as well. Outside I'll be growing fruits and vegetables, potatoes, radish, onion, lettuce, cucumber, string beans, all these different things can be grown outside, and you'll see that as well. Hopefully that'll inspire people to do the same with any little patch of land they might have. You don't need much. It's not rocket science. It's very easy to do. And why not? You get more out really than it's financially cost to put in. Trust me, if you got the right number of variables in place. But that's it. Peace out. Thanks for watching. And Steve and Cheshire, you two are awesome. Keep watching your videos. I always feel like I learn something from you. And certainly Steve with your video on spirituality, that was really interesting. Cheers. Bye.